Now, the outlawed Lord's Resistance Army and its leader, Joseph Kony, are suspected to be operating from the Central African Republic. But rebel takeover in the CAR has stalled international efforts to track down Kony and his group. VOA State Department correspondent Scott Stearns reports on how the LRA is taking advantage of regional instability.
Rebels who seized power in the Central African Republic this year effectively halted efforts to find the Lord's Resistance Army there. Ugandan troops and their U.S. advisors suspended the hunt amid uncertainty over how the rebel coalition, known as SALEKA, might pursue the group and its leader, Joseph Kony. Center for Strategic and International Studies Africa Director Jennifer Cook.
With the collapse in CAR, I think the effort, the real sense of urgency and focus on getting Joseph Kony has collapsed somewhat.
Kony is accused of being responsible for murder, kidnapping, and sexual slavery across 4 African countries. His ability to now move more freely and capitalize on instability worries Human Rights Watch official Sarah MARGON.
Certainly, chaos in Eastern Congo and in CAR could give the LRA the time to regroup, and if nobody is particularly focused on the LRA as part of the larger regional issues, that is also another way in which they could regroup. They sort of become invisible.
Rebel rule in Bangui creates new opportunities for the LRA, says SASHA LEZHNEV of the human rights group The Enough Project.
Every day that this situation continues, where the Ugandans and the U.S. advisors are just sitting in their seats, watching the game unfold, is creating danger for the LRA to set up new abduction sprees, to set up new safe havens, as they have done many, many times.
In Central Africa, it's easy for such a mobile force to hide.
The terrain with the forest canopy makes it very difficult to track them, even with infrared technology. They move in groups of 3 to 5. They're now down to just a few hundred fighters. But Kony and his top commanders, but particularly Kony, has always been very, very resilient.
SALEKA rebels controlling the Central African Republic have not made chasing the Lord's Resistance Army a priority, says Jennifer Cook.
The SALEKA coalition is very fractured. It's a lot of very ambitious individuals and groups that have very different agendas. Governance and security broadly is probably not one of them.
Cook also questions the commitment of the previous government in Bangui, which left SALEKA even less to live up to.
What commitment there was has now pretty much collapsed. It's just going to be very hard to do that when Ugandan troops cannot collaborate with troops in Eastern Congo, when Central Africa is in such disrepair.
While regional governments have recognized rebel rule in Bangui, an African Union task force against the LRA is awaiting fresh rules of engagement in their pursuit of Joseph Kony.
Well, Scott Stearns now joins me in the studio. Welcome, Scott. Now, first, does the SALEKA group support LRA?
No, that's not our understanding. U.S. officials say that they're hearing the right sort of signals from the new rulers in Bangui, that they understand the danger that these LRA rebels face to the citizens of the Central African Republic and the international community's interest in tracking them down. The problem is that, this is now a transitional authority, and it's difficult to get any clarity about their goals and have any what we would normally have some bilateral assistance that the Americans and the Ugandans had with the previous Bozize government.
Yes. Now, what kind of advantage that this kind of moment of inactivity by the international groups, the military that also has been operating there, give to this group, the LRA?
If you're Joseph Kony, it's a pretty good time. The hunt that the Ugandans and the Americans were pursuing you in Central African Republic appears to have been making some progress, if judged at least by the defections that were coming from the LRA. That program has stopped. The defections have slowed. So you again have more freedom of movement in the Central African Republic. You have continuing instability in North Kivu between the forces from Kinshasa and the M23 rebellion. And as we discussed last week, you have safe haven in Kafia-Kingi, an area in Sudan between North and South Sudan. So the areas through which the LRA has routinely moved appear to be open to them.
Yeah, but one thing we haven't heard is any activity from LRA. We haven't heard of a report of them attacking a village or capturing anybody. Does this imply that perhaps it is weakening?
They are a smaller group than they have been in the past, yes. The fact that we've not heard of attacks lately indicates to the intelligence community that they've been on the run. The problem now is, with that pressure off, not so much on the run, they have the ability now to regroup, to restock. For the LRA, that means abductions.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Well, Scott Stearns, the State Department correspondent, thanks for joining us. We want to know now what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is VOA Africa 54. Also, get VOA News fast on your mobile device through Google Currents. To get the app, go to voanews.com/currents. Coming